Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. You know, a lot of you reach out saying you want more joy in your everyday life.
Yeah.
So we're checking out a source today all about building simple habits to boost well-being.
Hmm.
And get this, it's not about huge life changes.
Right.
It's like tweaking how we experience all those little daily moments.
Exactly. And the source actually gets into the science behind it, which is really cool.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, for one, it talks about how small but consistent actions can, like compound.
Compounding effect. Okay, I'm listening. What's that mean exactly?
It's kind of like compound interest, you know? Start small, keep at it.
Okay.
Over time, it builds to something way bigger.
Hmm. I like that. So it's not about some end goal, but the journey, right? Like
Yeah.
those little things we do each day really add up.
Totally. Like
Yeah.
one thing the source suggests is starting your day with an intention. Not like adding another task, though, just a
Right.
few minutes to like connect with yourself. Ask what's one quality I want to embody today.
Oh, I've tried that. Sometimes it felt kind of forced, but on good days, it really helped me stay grounded.
It's about finding what works for you.
Yeah. Not a rigid plan, more like setting your inner compass.
Exactly.
Love that analogy. So what else does the source suggest?
Well, moving our bodies. We know it's good, but
Yeah, but
don't always do it.
true.
And the source says it doesn't have to be a crazy workout. Even 10, 15 minutes of anything helps.
10 to 15. Okay, that I can do. You can't say no time to that. What's so magical about just a few minutes, though?
Endorphins. Even a little activity releases those feel-good chemicals.
Like a brain reset.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we've got intention, movement. Oh, and this one's fun. A joy break.
A what? Joy break? Never heard of that. What is that?
It's like 10 minutes just for fun. No goals, just pure enjoyment.
Honestly, that feels kind of revolutionary these days. Like we're all so obsessed with productivity, we forget to have fun just for fun.
Yeah, and that's exactly why it's important. Joy reminds us life isn't all about achievement. It's about savoring simple things, too.
Like giving yourself permission to be a kid again, even for a bit.
Exactly.
I like that. And speaking of feeling good, the source talks about gratitude, right?
It does.
I know it's a popular topic, but I'm curious what this source says.
It suggests writing down 3 things you're grateful for at the end of each day.
Okay.
And it can be anything. Doesn't have to be some big event.
So it's not about ignoring the tough stuff, but intentionally noticing the good.
Right. And get this, it actually rewires your brain.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive. It strengthens those happy pathways.
Rewiring your brain.
Mhm.
Seriously, tell me more about that.
It's neuroplasticity. Basically, your brain's always changing based on what you do, what you experience.
So every time I practice gratitude, it's like a little happiness workout for my brain.
Yeah, and over time, it gets easier to default to that positive outlook.
Wow, so it's not just some fluffy idea, there's actual science behind it. But let's be honest, life gets crazy. It's hard to remember these habits even if they are simple. What does the source say about consistency?
Well, it emphasizes that consistency doesn't mean being perfect.
Oh, okay.
Like, don't beat yourself up if you miss a day. It's about gently getting back on track.
So more like training for a marathon, right? You
Yeah.
build up to it. Some days are awesome, others you rest.
Exactly. And remember, even small actions, when consistent, make a difference over time.
Right. It's the cumulative effect. So not everything perfect all at once, just finding what works, starting small, and building from there.
Speaking of building, I know there's more to this deep dive.
Yeah,
Should we take a break and come back for part 2?
absolutely. We've got more cool stuff to cover, like mindful breathing and human connection. You're going to love it.
Sounds good. We'll be back soon with more on these simple but powerful habits for more daily joy. Welcome back. So we were talking about gratitude and how it can rewire our brains, right?
Yeah. You mentioned something called neuroplasticity. Can we break that down a bit? It sounds kind of complicated.
Oh, it's actually pretty simple. It just means our brains are always changing, adapting based on what we do. Like a muscle use it gets stronger.
So it's not that our brains are fixed, they're always evolving.
Exactly. And when we make gratitude a habit, we strengthen those happy pathways in our brains.
So it's like we can actually train ourselves to be happier.
Right. And there's research on this. People who practice gratitude, they actually show more activity in the brain areas linked to feeling good.
Wow, so it's not just some feel-good fluff. There's real science to back it up. Okay, I'm convinced. What else does the source talk about?
This one kind of ties in nicely, actually. Mindful breathing.
Ah, mindful breathing. You know, I always picture monks on a mountaintop when I hear that.
Right. But the source makes it feel way more accessible. You don't have to be a meditation master.
Good, because I'm definitely not. So, what's so great about focusing on your breath then?
Well, it's like hitting pause on all those racing thoughts, the anxiety.
Hmm.
It calms your nervous system down, like shifting out of that fight or flight mode.
Okay, so a quick way to de-stress, even when things are crazy.
Exactly. And there's a simple technique the source gives. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4.
I've tried that. It really does work, like a mini vacation for your mind.
Right. And speaking of feeling connected, the source talks about, well, connection.
Human connection, yeah. Makes sense, but it's easy to let that slip in our busy lives.
It is. But the source says it doesn't have to be some grand gesture.
Okay.
A genuine chat with a coworker, calling a friend, even smiling at a stranger, those small things count.
I had this experience the other day. I was having a terrible day, stressed, overwhelmed,
Yeah.
and I was rushing through the grocery store, and the cashier and I just started talking about tea.
Tea.
Random, I know. But honestly, it totally changed my mood. I walked out feeling so much lighter.
That's awesome. And it illustrates what the source talks about. Even little moments of connection can release oxytocin in the brain.
The bonding hormone, right. So even brief encounters can actually make us feel better physically.
Yeah. We're wired for connection, like you said. Makes me think about those joy breaks we talked about.
Huh?
Does the source say anything about how those relate to connection?
Good question.
It does. It suggests making your joy break social sometimes.
Oh, like grabbing coffee with a friend, playing a game with family.
Exactly. Sharing those fun moments with others.
I love that. So gratitude, breathing, connection. What else does the source dig into? Anything that surprised you?
Hmm. There was one. Setting boundaries.
Boundaries. I hear that word a lot, but honestly, I still get confused. What does that even look like in real life?
It's about knowing your limits and telling others about them too.
Okay.
Saying no to things that drain you, protecting your time and energy.
It's hard to say no, though, right? Like, our culture is all about doing more, being busy.
Yeah, but the source makes it clear. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're about self-respect, taking care of yourself.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. So any advice from the source on how to actually set boundaries? Because that feels tough.
Yeah, for real.
Start small, it says. Maybe say no to one extra thing this week. Or block off some time each day just for you.
Okay.
And be clear, be assertive when you communicate those boundaries, both to yourself and to others.
So figure out your limits, communicate them, and then stick to them. Easier said than done, though, right?
It takes practice, yeah. But the source says the rewards are huge. When you have boundaries, you make space for things that matter, the things that bring you joy.
It's about making choices that are right for you, even if it means saying no to things that don't fit.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey. You'll learn as you go, figure out what works best.
We've covered so much: gratitude, breathing, connection, boundaries. It's like a toolkit for happiness.
Right.
But I know there's still more to come in part 3.
Oh, yeah. We still need to talk about one of the most important things. Sleep.
Sleep! Seriously, I know it's important, but how does that connect to joy?
Well, we usually think about sleep for our physical health, our brains working right.
Yeah.
But the source goes deeper. It's about how sleep affects our emotions, our ability to even feel joy.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. We'll be back soon with part 3 to unpack that sleep-joy connection and any other final wisdom the source has to offer.
Okay, we're back for the final part of our deep dive, all about finding more joy every day.
Yeah.
We've covered so much already: intention, gratitude, even setting those boundaries. But you said there's one more big thing from the source.
There is, and it's one we often overlook: sleep.
Sleep. Huh. I know it's important, obviously, but how does that tie into joy?
Well, we always talk about sleep for our physical health, right?
Yeah.
Sharper thinking, all that.
Right.
But this source goes deeper. It's about how sleep affects our emotions, our ability to actually feel joy. Okay, now you got my attention. Convince me. Because I've definitely pulled all-nighters before, and sure, I was tired,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel like a happiness deal breaker.
That's what we think, but it's sneaky. See, when we don't sleep enough consistently,
Yeah.
it messes with us on so many levels. Not just thinking straight, but our emotions, how we handle stress, even how much pleasure we can experience.
So it's not just feeling tired, it's like our capacity for joy shrinks.
Exactly. The source says a sleep-deprived brain, it doesn't respond as well to good things.
Oh, wow. Like we literally can't appreciate the good stuff as much.
It's kind of like that, emotional blinders, almost.
Makes sense. When I'm exhausted, everything feels worse. Little things set me off.
Right. And on the flip side, good sleep.
Yeah.
It's the foundation for feeling more joy.
Okay.
Your brain handles emotions better, you're less stressed, more open to those happy moments.
It's like sleep is emotional self-care then.
It totally is. But it's a first thing to go when we're busy.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah. But the source points out, even small improvements in sleep make a difference in our mood.
So, not about getting 8 hours no matter what, but making it better sleep.
Yeah. The source suggests a relaxing bedtime routine, dimming the lights,
Okay.
avoiding screens before bed, little things that help.
Simple stuff, but it makes a difference. It's like all these habits, really. It's not about being perfect. It's about those small, consistent choices.
Totally. And those choices add up. Like the source also talks about having a why for all this.
Oh, why? What does that even mean?
It's like connecting these habits to something bigger. Why do you want more joy? What are you hoping for?
Oh, so it's not just doing things because they sound good, but because they fit into my life, my goals.
Exactly. Like maybe your why is to be a more patient parent.
Hmm.
That might make you focus on mindful breathing, intention setting, or maybe it's feeling more energetic overall, so you prioritize sleep, movement.
I get it. It's like having a purpose makes it more real, more motivating.
And that why can change too. The key is to check in with yourself. Make sure these habits are still serving you.
It's making them my habits, not just following some list.
This has been such a great deep dive. We've got so many tools now for finding more joy.
We do.
But as we wrap up, what's the one thing you hope people take away from all this?
Good question. I think it's that finding joy, it's a journey, not a finish line.
Yeah,
There will be good days, tough days. The key is to be kind to yourself, try things out, find what works, make it yours, and celebrate those little victories along the way.
I love that. Progress over perfection. And it's not just about us, like making these positive choices. It affects everyone around us too.
It does.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive. But the exploration doesn't have to stop here. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep choosing joy.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. It was a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
And until next time, keep shining your light.